Earlier, I had the chance to talk to TV host Mike Rowe, the founder and CEO of the Mike Rowe Works Foundation, about his positive and practical thoughts on American workers and jobs. Take a look. Mike, I think many of us would agree that good work is the lifeblood of not just a strong economy, but a healthy society.
Meaningful work.
Meaningful work. That's a great point there. And I think that, you know, there's good news when we think about work right now, low unemployment. But despite that, you've still got millions of people who could be working and who aren't. And then when we look in the future,
Sure.
You've got all these threats on the horizon. People talk about artificial intelligence and the robots taking over. So tell me something positive and practical about work.
We can control it. You just said it perfectly. Good work. Good work implies, you didn't say it, but it implies the existence of bad work. Bad work suggests the existence of bad jobs. If you go into the world with an expectation that you have a category of good jobs and a category of bad jobs, then you're going to be informed to act accordingly, which means you'll look at education in terms of good education and bad education, four-year degrees, trade schools. The language is important. So if we want to redefine the way we think about work in the coming decades, we need to redefine the definition of a good job.
So how do we make that happen? So let's just look at that in detail. You spoke about four-year degrees. It sounds like you think that that's taking people in the wrong direction if we want everyone to be able to have meaningful work.
I think, you know, I don't want this to be a polemic, but I think in very general terms, the general terms are the problem. So the best path for the most people is something our politicians have to talk about. And so when we frame education, we talk about a four-year degree being that best path in a very general way. We all want our kids to live up to their potential. That potentiality manifests itself in the acquisition of a diploma, which poses a dilemma. We have $1.5 trillion in student loans today. We have 7 million jobs that are currently available, 75% of which don't require a four-year degree.
75%?
Correct. And we have...
That's such an important number. People don't appreciate that.
What's happening in the country now, in my humble opinion, is people are looking at 4 or 5 million good jobs that are undeniably real. And rather than seeing them for the opportunities that they manifestly are...
What kind of jobs? Let's just be specific about that.
Steam fitters, pipe fitters, carpenters, welders. My foundation has probably put 400 welders out into the force, many of whom are making six figures. These statistics need to be headline news.
You don't hear that.
No,
six figures. You're exactly right. People say, "Oh well, they're not the jobs you want." Kind of, you know, coding. Where everyone talks about coding. The
jobs you want. The jobs you want your kid to want.
Kids, exactly.
The jobs you want your kid to want. The jobs that guidance counselors ultimately get paid for promoting. And I don't mean that to sound like a scandal, but it kind of is. Many guidance counselors in our country are bonused out on their ability to get kids into a four-year degree.
Wow.
And so the way you set the table...
They're financially rewarded.
Sure.
For sending young people on a particular path, even if it's not the best for them.
Correct. Because we're dealing with large numbers of people and big, broad ideas. We have to say things that we believe apply to the fat part of the bat. We have to speak very broadly. And when you speak broadly to a kid whose brain is wired to weld, to fabricate, to build, when you pressure that kid to borrow $80,000, $90,000 to get a degree that ultimately is going to qualify him to do a job that no longer exists, then you're enabling something that, what's the word? Insane.
Right. So final point, how do we change it? I mean, you're such a great evangelist for this. That's part of changing the culture. Are there any other specific things that you can think of that would make this change happen?
Look, it's the answer is a 300-page book I can't get around to finishing, but the short version is I'm not an evangelist. I'm a cipher. I'm a fan of the kinds of jobs that make civilized life possible for the rest of us. The way to celebrate those jobs is to tell the true stories of people who have prospered as a result of learning the skills that are actually in demand. That's what my foundation does every year. Work ethic scholarships. We've given away $5–6 million worth of these things. I'll do it again this year. And what we'll do with the recipients is tell their story, front and center.
Yeah.
Now, it's great to see a kid in a cap and gown killing it in the legal profession, but I also want to show you a guy with a welding torch or a woman with no debt, a six-figure income, and some balance in their life.
And meaningful work at the heart of it is exactly right. Last question. People watching tonight, if they want to get involved, support you, get behind this effort, what should they do?
You can go to my website. It's been there for 10 years. It's called MicroWorks, and you can apply for a work ethic scholarship. If you don't need one, you can suggest to somebody in your life that maybe they would be served by giving an honest look at some of the jobs that currently exist. In the end, that's the thing. People look at unemployment as a reflection of, gosh, if only we had more jobs, the unemployment would go away. That's not true. That's a big, hairy fabrication. The reality is the existence of opportunity makes people uncomfortable because it says something that's ultimately unflattering about our country. Tough. Look at the opportunities, acknowledge it's real, look at the stories of the people who have thrived as a result of pursuing them, and change the narrative.
There you go. Well, I hope we made our small contribution tonight. Really, really appreciate it.
I thought it was both positive and practical.
I absolutely agree. Mike, thank you so much.
Anytime.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.